So, this is the face reveal everyone has been asking for. Match reaction to Man United's 3-2 win against Liverpool in the FA Cup. First of all, I just want to say, completely well done and all props to Liverpool, Came to Old Trafford, played their style of play, even when they had Reece Williams at the back, pressed really high, played fearlessly, and really threatened us at times. But really, I think Man United came up on top because of the lesser of mistakes, lesser of mistakes at the back. I think both sides were really good on the attack, but were rather shaky at the back tonight. I think we'll start with the scoreline. I think 3-2 was a very fair reflection of the game. Both sides threatened, both sides could have scored more, and to be honest, it could have been 4-2 if it wasn't for a bit of bad luck. I think Cavani's header at the end was really agonizingly close, and on another day it probably could have gone in. At the same time, Liverpool had other chances. I think Trent probably could have made more of the free kick he got at the edge of the box, like Bruno did. But I think first off, with the goals, Dean Henderson really couldn't have done much. I think the first goal was really poor on the defence. Lindelof was playing left centre back, and I think that came from some miscommunications off of the corner, and that's something the boys have to work on because they simply switched off like that. And Liverpool capitalised, great ball behind the defence and really good finish from Mo Salah, credit to him, 2 goals tonight. He probably could have had a hat-trick if it wasn't for Dean Henderson. I think the first goal was really between Lindelof and Shaw, but I mainly think it should have been Lindelof's fault because he probably should have cut off the passing lane. Second goal, some people could say that it is his fault because it does go through his legs. Personally, I think De Gea is much better with his legs, and I think De Gea would have saved that, but Henderson hasn't really played much, and he's been up against one of the best forwards in the world right now. I would say he is half at fault for that, but it is really close, and it was a really quick shot, so I wouldn't really put it on him. I think it was mainly the defence. I think Maguire and Lindelof are absolutely atrocious as a centre-back pairing. I think them on their own, they probably could have done well with Bailly pairing with them, but Maguire and Lindelof played really poorly compared to how they played last week away at Liverpool. They were really shaky at times. I don't really trust them as a centre-back pairing. Neither of them are quick. They don't communicate well with each other. With James Milner's first miss, that was Maguire and Lindelof's fault. They both went for the header. Neither of them won it. They didn't communicate. I think if it was Eric Bailly, he probably would have just thrown himself in front of the ball and just whacked it clear. I think that's the difference between playing Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire, and Eric Bailly and Lindelof, because they communicate and Eric Bailly commands the aerial space, whereas Maguire and Lindelof don't. I think Shaw played really well tonight. He got forward a lot, created a few chances, but the 2 goals did come down on his side, so I would say that he didn't pocket Mo Salah as well as he did last week, but I think still a very encouraging performance and continuing his great run of form. And honestly, right now, I think Shaw is England's best left back, and in that game he definitely was the best fullback. On the other side of things, Wan-Bissaka, second half I think he improved, and when we scored the 3rd goal, he was bombing forward, when he just absolutely sat Robertson down twice. Thought that was fantastic from him, but he did have a few dodgy moments, and overall I think he still needs to improve on his attack, but overall I think decent performance, and he did keep Mane relatively quiet. Personally, I do not think McTominay plays well as a CDM. I think when Fred and McTominay played together, McTominay plays a lot better, as evident when Fred came on tonight. McTominay isn't really a CDM, he's mainly a box-to-box, and we all saw that against Leeds when he was just bombing forwards. I don't think he's that great playing as a deep line playmaker, bringing the ball from the back. His balls across the field, the diagonal balls, some landed, some really didn't. I think he had one in the first half, which created a chance for Rashford, and that was brilliant, but he also had a few misplaced ones. I think Pogba had a pretty good game in terms of the way he held the ball off and distributed it at times, but he also did give the ball quite a lot, and so did McTominay. I think McTominay and Pogba did give the ball a lot at the start of the game in the first half, and McTominay certainly gave the ball at least 4 or 5 times, but that is down to Liverpool pressing him. I think personally, I think he should have just whacked it out, but maybe Ollie's plan is just to stay out from the back, break Liverpool's press, and then just have maybe like a 3-on-2 going at the back. Personally, I would much rather play him with Fred than with Pogba, because they're both essentially the same person. They both play essentially the same role, and honestly they do pretty much the same things, except Pogba just does it a lot better. Pogba still does those diagonal balls, and so does McTominay. I personally think that Van de Beek was one of our best players in the first half. Every time he was on the ball, he was absolute quality. His passes were great, really good in transition. Probably could have had a penalty, although VAR didn't look at it. I thought maybe the contact wasn't as substantial as a lot of people make it, but I do agree with the referee's decision. Van de Beek did well to cover a lot of ground and to bomb forward, and overall I think he played really well. It is just unlucky that Bruno Fernandes is currently top 6 or 7 players in the world right now. I think Bruno Fernandes is completely in form right now. You know, a lot of people have been saying on the sidelines about how he's tired and how he's not performing, but I think tonight showed why Man United are where they are right now. You know, Bruno Fernandes is the person that have transformed this team from top 4 contenders to title contenders. I think Bruno Fernandes is absolutely phenomenal, and that really showed with his goal. He hasn't scored as many free kicks as people would have probably wanted, but tonight's free kick was just absolutely phenomenal quality. Like, I'm speechless. Anyone that wants to tell me that Kevin De Bruyne is better than Bruno Fernandes can honestly sod off, because Bruno Fernandes he's in the form of his life, and Bruno Fernandes is much better than Kevin De Bruyne is right now. I mean, that shows with his team of the year card, obviously. Going back to Van de Beek, I think Van de Beek needs to play more, but he needs to play in a deeper role. I think he probably to play McTominay's role. I think he can win the ball at times, and it was a shame to see him come off. I would like to see him play against Sheffield United and Arsenal, because I think those are completely winnable games, and he should get a chance to prove himself against those teams. Now, moving on to the attackers, Mason Greenwood did kind of blunder 1 or 2 chances at the start of the game. I thought he could have squared it to Van de Beek, but looking back at the replay, Reece Williams actually covered the square pass to Van de Beek, so I understand why Greenwood would take a shot. I really thought he was a different player tonight compared to his previous performances. I'm not gonna lie, he has had a rather poor run of form. You know, he's had a dip in form that's probably attributed to personal issues off the field. I think the England scandal he had over summer could have played a part in that, and you know, being in lockdown is just not easy for a young English player, and he's constantly in the media spotlight, and he constantly gets torn apart for no reason. I think he's a great talent. I think he'll be a great player, and tonight showed that he really is a goal scorer rather than a provider, and that's why Man United really need a right winger, because Mason Greenwood looks to score goals rather than provide assists. We don't need another inverted winger. We've got Martial, we've got Rashford. That's why I hope Diallo can play well, because if Diallo can play well, we could possibly convert Greenwood into a permanent striker up front. Greenwood's hunger for goal really showed at the start of the game. He took 1 or 2 shots, and his finish was just perfectly placed beyond Alisson. Great finish. I'm really happy for Greenwood, and I think he fully deserved it. He went at it and he got his goal. He also got an amazing assist for Rashford. That ball was just phenomenal. Reece Williams took a deflection and maybe like put it right into Rashford's path, but I think that was really good vision, good awareness, and great ball to play Rashford in. 1 goal, 1 assist. Brilliant performance from Greenwood in 65 minutes, which I think shows that he can replicate his impactful performances from last season. Next up, Marcus Rashford on the other side. I think tonight, once again, he was phenomenal, absolutely torching Trent Alexander-Arnold on the left-hand side. Trent Alexander-Arnold cannot handle Marcus Rashford. Every time we ran at them, we looked threatening. He evaded countless number of tackles, drew a few fouls. Like, he just had an all-around great performance. Absolutely fantastic. Took his goal really well. His first touch was a bit dodgy, but put it beyond Alisson, no questions asked. And that's not to forget his assist for Greenwood, cross-field ball beyond the reach of James Milner. Don't know where Andy Robertson was. Brilliant ball, brilliant assist, brilliant goal. Marcus Rashford needs to play left wing, and I have constantly advocated to this. Marcus Rashford is not a right winger. He needs to cut in, he needs to shoot on his right. There was a chance at the start of the game, there was a half chance, and I think if Greenwood had that chance, he probably would have shot it. but Marcus Rashford let it run down and cut back on to his right, and that really showed that Marcus Rashford needs to play instead of the right. He is an inverted winger. He is that key difference maker, honestly. He's shown against Wolves, against Burnley with that great assist tonight. And lastly, Cavani. I think Cavani had a really good game. He didn't get a goal tonight, but he was absolutely great with his pressing, his tracking back. Almost should have had a goal, and on another day he probably would have had it. Really solid player, and I'm really happy to see him integrate into the team and being used well. I think Fred came on, good pass to Cavani. Cavani drew a foul, Bruno bangs it in. Bruno Fernandes, we touched on him. There's not really much you need to say about him, probably could have had another assist, a goal and an assist for Cavani. But the team looks a lot better at retaining the ball, a lot better at controlling the ball when he's on the pitch. Absolute key man for Man United, absolute difference maker. You can see that when one key player comes off, when Marcus Rashford comes on, Bruno Fernandes comes on. That's the squad depth we have right now, and that shows that in key moments, in key games, when we need to rest players or we need to break the deadlock, we can still bring others on. That honestly reflects really well on the squad depth we have. Anthony Martial, I think he also has had a bit of a dip in form. I'm sure his goals will come. I'm sure it's just a dip in confidence. You've seen that with great players. You've seen that with oMg, Timo Werner, all these brilliant strikers, all these great strikers. We all know the quality. It's just a minor dip in form, and I'm sure once he gets going, once he picks up form, he will be incredible for us. I mean, he was our player of the year last season, I think. Him and Rashford and Greenwood combined for 60-ish goals, 62 goals, I think. And we were really reliant on him after lockdown. That, I think, is also attributed to a rise in confidence, which I think he will pick up sooner or later. We've got Sheffield United and Arsenal coming back. We're going to score goals. We're going to play well. So yeah, bit of an in-depth analysis on what I thought of every single player on the pitch. I personally think that tonight was a fantastic result against a fantastic team. I know Liverpool aren't playing the best, and we are playing really well, but Liverpool are still Liverpool. They're still quality. They've still got a quality coach, quality backroom staff, quality players. I think that with United grinding this one out is an absolute morale booster for us, and it will really hurt Liverpool, who are going into Tottenham's next game. I think the boys will build on this, and I'm really excited to see what's to come for Man United. And my man of the match of the game is going to be Marcus Rashford. I do think he was a difference maker, a goal and an assist. He really drove the team forward at the start of the game and was extremely threatening, had a goal and an assist. So I'd give it to Marcus Rashford. It is currently 3:50 a.m. So I would really appreciate it if you left a like on this video. A bit of a different style of video to my usual FIFA ones, and I will probably be making more of these in the future. If anyone has any contradicting opinions on what I've said, please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, here's a face reveal. Thanks.